The story begins with our protagonist, named Ark, waking from his slumber. He has no clue where he is and is shocked to see that he is in a suit of armor. After calming down, he realizes that he has seen this armor before in great detail. He lists parts of his gear and their attributes, including fire resistance and mana regeneration, to name a few. He is also very familiar with his sword, which he says strikes as fast as the lightning it is bathed in. The reason he is so familiar with the gear is that it belongs to a character he plays in a game. He remembers falling asleep while playing, but believes that everything feels way too real for this to be a dream. He notices that even though he is wearing so much armor, he hardly feels the weight of it. Ark begins to test out his abilities and notices that they are stronger than he remembers. He also finds that he is able to use magic abilities he was not able to when playing. Feeling powerful, he decides to put his skills to the test. But thanks to a rumbling stomach, he decides to eat first. Ark tries to use a teleportation spell that allows him to teleport to places he has already been, but it fails since he hasn't been anywhere yet. He gets around this by using a different spell that allows him to teleport in a short range. He stops by a large body of water and sees his reflection. Ark is surprised to see that his face is just a skull and remembers that he had chosen a skeleton as his avatar. He fears that townspeople will see him as a monster and intends to avoid causing any type of commotion by keeping his helmet on whenever he is around others. As he walks through town, he makes note of how this world seems to be more medieval and not have much fantasy. He catches the scent of some delicious-looking food and realizes that he needs to find a way to make money. He continues to wander and listens in on the end of an argument. To his delight, he sees that there is a bit of fantasy in this world after all when he notices the woman in the argument is actually an elf. He tries to follow the elf, but loses her instantly and finds himself in front of a mercenary guild he remembers from the game that he can earn money from completing quests given by the guild, but only after acquiring a mercenary license. The clerk tells him that in order to get the license, he must complete a trial by hunting 3 of either beasts, monsters, or bandits and return with proof. Ark sets out on his journey, and the man at the desk comes up with a deep backstory for him, one that says Ark is forced to do mercenary work to pay for his sick child. Later, we see that Ark has completed the trial, but stops on his way back when he sees that 2 women are being attacked by a group of bandits. He takes a moment to think about how he is outnumbered and how that usually means failure, but is able to find confidence in his top-tier gear. With a couple of swings of his sword, Ark vanquishes all the bandits and rescues the 2 women. They introduce themselves as Lauren and her servant Rita. Rita asks Ark if he is a knight in service of a lord, but he says they can talk later as first they need to get dressed. He thinks to himself, though, how his character's premise is that he was hit with a curse and is on a journey to find a cure. He disposes of the bandits' bodies and surprises himself with his lack of guilt considering he has never killed before. He just assumes it is because they were bad guys. Ark is delighted to see that the girls are not paying attention to him, giving him the opportunity to loot the bandits. The 2 women thank him for the help, but all he can think of is getting back to enjoy a meal. On the way back, they thank him again, and Ark notices Lauren's admiring glare as he formally introduces himself. He arrives back at the guild, and the clerk informs him that he should always remember to take the runestones from any monsters he kills as they can be turned into magic items and weapons. He gives Ark his license and shows him the measly board of quests, explaining that the best quests are for those who join a mercenary guild. Ark finally enjoys his meal and gets excited for the following day when he begins to quest. The next day, Ark does his first job, which is to guard someone collecting herbs. He makes his way to the house of the young girl who posted the job on the board, named Marka, who is shocked to see such an imposing person at her door. Ark then explains to us that his reason for choosing such a mundane job was so that he would not risk exposing his identity by bringing too much attention to himself. Marka then expresses her doubt as to why such a prestigious-looking knight would take her job, and he simply lies about having interest in picking herbs. He also accidentally says out loud that it is a perfect early-game quest to start with. Marka is in a bit of a hurry, so the 2 set out on their quest. As they walk, Marka questions her urgency, and she explains that she does not want her mother to find out. Marka's father had died 2 years ago, and picking herbs was his job, so now she wants to help her mother out by doing it instead. Ark is astonished by her nobility, thinking how he was only playing video games at that age and how he actually never stopped. Marka begins to examine nearby plants when Ark notices movement in some bushes. He approaches with caution to find a small squirrel-like animal that is injured. Ark attempts to use a healing spell for the first time and successfully heals it. Marka notices how the animal seems to want to follow him and recommends giving it a name. Ark seems to be very bad at this as he attempts to name it fried tofu or tempura. The animal seems happy though as Ark finally decides to name it Panta. Back at the village, a hunter is extremely concerned as he warns of a mysterious monster much more different than the wild boar that typically roamed the area. Marka's mother Sienna arrives, and one of the hunters explained to her that he had seen Marka leave the village. He also mentions how dangerous it is to be in the forest now, but she shouldn't worry too much as he saw Marco leave with a knight. We then see Marka and Ark arrive at their destination, the Kabumi tree. As Marka approaches the tree, she is attacked by a ferocious monster. Ark manages to rescue her seconds before being crushed, but must react quickly when the monster spews poisonous fog from its mouth. Ark analyzes his opponent and determines that it is capable of spitting fog, has paralyzing claws, and can petrify. The battle rages on, and Ark must use his shield's abilities to avoid being petrified. When he finally gets a chance, Ark uses a powerful combat skill called Judgment to pierce the monster, ending its life. He is once again surprised at just how much damage he is capable of doing. Marka is extremely impressed and says that everyone in town will want to celebrate our spectacular victory. Of course, he would like to avoid any kind of attention at all, so he asks Marka to keep this victory over the monster a secret, and she agrees. Ark then notices a ring around the monster's leg that disappears before he can examine it. Later, the two arrive back at the village, and Ark gives the villager Zabur as a gift. Sione arrives and hugs her daughter. Ark apologizes for not stopping her daughter and requests that Marka not be scolded, as he has never seen a child who cares more for her mother. She then hugs her daughter again and thanks Ark. The hunters ask if they had seen a ferocious monster on their quest, but of course, he lies and says they didn't. They all say their goodbyes, and Ark leaves with his new pet. Elsewhere, we see warriors in a fierce battle against a similar monster. After the monster is slain, the leader of the group is briefed on the many casualties that they suffered, including 15 deaths and 38 injured soldiers. It is also brought to his attention that there had been an identical monster that was killed. They go to the corpse left by Ark and are amazed to see that it had been slain by a single blow. They are more impressed to find that the blow had been delivered by a single person. They have no clue who could have done such a thing by themselves, but believe that the person must be a god or perhaps even the devil himself. Back at home, we see Ark talk to Panta. He would still like to keep a low profile but has the urge to eventually try a more challenging quest. A few days later, in a cave, we see a group of bandits run away from Ark, as he has just decimated their entire group. He finishes off the bandits and thinks to himself how happy he is to be completing casual quests to cover his daily expenses. He finds her stash of gold and takes some loot, but also sees a couple of cages and thinks nothing of it. Elsewhere, it is revealed that the attack on Lauren was actually a failed assassination ordered by Lord Dianto. Dianto is shocked to hear that the plan is foiled due to a single mercenary. It is also revealed that Dianto was the one who ordered the monsters to be sent out to the land under the control of Lauren's family. Dianto has an allegiance with the Prince of the East named Dekars, and Lauren's family has the backing of the Western Empire's Prince sect. It seems Dianto was attempting to destabilize the kingdom in readiness for war. However, what is most important to Dianto is ensuring that his illegal slave operation goes smoothly. Back at the cave, Ark is attacked by a woman. She attacks him with such speed he is unable to tell if she is a leftover bandit or not. He catches a glimpse of her face and recognizes her as the elf he had seen before. The girl demands that Ark return the children he has taken, but he has no clue what she is talking about. He tries to explain that she is mistaken, but she is not convinced and goes in for a powerful strike. However, she stops as she notices Panta. She recognizes her as a spirit creature and says that they are typically very cautious creatures that don't usually take a liking to elves or humans. Ark says that Panta has followed him since the day he helped heal her. She takes this as a sign of him being honorable and apologizes for her attack. She informs him that she is going after bandits that had been hunting elves, and he thinks back to the cages he had seen earlier. He wonders why they would be hunted, and she lets him know that elves fetch a high price on the slave market. He offers to help in any way he can, but she refuses, stating that it is a matter for elves to deal with, and she would never request help from a human. She leaves, but Ark is not discouraged in the slightest, claiming it to be one of those event quests where you help out a beautiful elf girl. The next day, he is informed by the guild clerk of the part of the forest where elves reside, and he sets out to find the girl. He stumbles upon a group of bandits as they chase down a young elf. We then see that the leader of the group is Diento's son, Udalin. He torments the girl and has her put in the cart with the others that are intended to be sold off. Udalin continues harassing the girl, and Ark can no longer stand by watching. Just as he is about to jump into action, the elf from the night before arrives and demands they release their captors. The bandits see the value in her and want to capture her as well. The bandits have no chance as the girl slices through them with ease. Udalin is desperate to stop her, so he threatens to harm the young girls. His plan works, and they begin to harass the warrior elf. Just as she begins to lose all hope, Ark instantly teleports behind Udalin. He knows that he promised to not interfere with the matters of the elves, but says he is here to help. The two work together and defeat the bandits. The elf warrior still tries to refuse his help, but proves himself valuable by releasing the girls from the cage. She then notices that the girls have necklaces that steal their mana, and she is not able to remove them here. However, the girl is amazed to see that Ark is able to use powerful spells to both remove the necklaces and heal their wounds. She then sends a message with a bird to have the girls be picked up by her comrades. They prepare to part ways, and the young girls are sad to be leaving Ark. However, he assures them that if they are ever in trouble, he will run to their aid. The warrior finds Ark to be very strange, since she has only ever heard of barbaric and dangerous humans. She is also very impressed with his skillful use of abilities and questions just who exactly he is. He introduces himself as no one of importance, simply a traveling mercenary named Ark, and his traveling companion Panta. She finally introduces herself as the elf warrior Arian and thanks Ark for his assistance. A bird messenger arrives and tells Arian to return immediately, as her group intends to rescue more of the slaves. Arian reconfirms that Ark is a mercenary and asks if she could hire him immediately. That's it for today. Next episodes of the story will be in description and in pinned comment in comment section. Please like and subscribe to the channel for further updates. Feel free to check them out. See you later.